Hello everybody, I'm the Dopey Canadian and today we'll be playing Bloodborne. The reason I decided to play Bloodborne is I play video games a hell of a lot. Dark Souls is the game series that really got me into playing video games quite a lot, so I decided to do Bloodborne, which is a game I haven't played all that much of in reality, opposed to my Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3 playthroughs where I've clocked hundreds of hours in those games, and this one I think I've only clocked about 60. Now, the whole point of the video is just to show you guys my sort of playstyle and to give you my sort of opinions and thoughts on some aspects of Bloodborne. For example, the opening cutscene I really enjoy because it sort of opens you up to the world you're about to explore is going to be a lot different than you would ever really comprehend anywhere else. Now I'm picking the military veteran because, well, I usually go for skill or dex builds usually, so skill's the dex of Bloodborne, so I decided, might as well stick in my comfort zone. And a little bit of strength boost it gives you is kind of nice if you decide you wanted to use a strength weapon. Again, nothing too outlandish to anyone who's really played any sort of Dark Souls game. Now this guy, I don't know what the hell is up with this man. I'd be kind of sketching out right now if I was in this creepy ass place getting a blood transfusion from this man. I don't know why your character signed up for this. I hope they had like super cancer or something, like Deadpool level cancer. That's the only reason they got this blood transfusion, I would hope. And now we're gonna see some really weird stuff. Again, it's not that surprising if you played any FromSoft titles. They have a lot of sort of weird, supernatural, mythical sort of events that happen. I know this one's mostly based on Cthulhu mythology, I believe it is. I've never really read anything about Cthulhu, but I know a little bit about it, and it seems to really match. Now I'm gonna just run right by the wolf because, yeah, I don't want to fight him, and I kind of just wanted to grab my blood vials and get my weapon beforehand. There's nothing really outrageous. There's not going to be like any sort of speed running going on right now until I get a lot better at the game than I currently am. You're going to see me when I get to the Hunter's Dream after quite a bit of difficulty, unfortunately. I'm going to pick the saw cleaver just because I really enjoy using the saw cleaver as a weapon. I don't really like the Hunter's Axe that much. I find it swings too slowly and it's mainly a strength sort of weapon, and I'm not really good at using strength sort of weapons at all. And I don't really use the threaded cane all that much. And yeah, I wasn't paying attention there, that's why I fell off the ladder. Just goes to show you, even though you've put in quite a few hours in a game, doesn't mean you can't just stop paying attention to it. In this video, it ends after I beat Gascoigne, which Doesn't take me as long as it did the first time, thank God. I think the first time I ever played this game, it took me like 3-4 hours just to get to Gascoigne, just because I kept dying so often. It's kind of ridiculous and embarrassing. I really do enjoy the cutscenes though. I feel like From Software, even though they've always been really good at doing cutscenes and sort of showing their story in non-traditional ways where you had to read more into it and sort of get knowledge from playing the game, I really do enjoy how they have these really beautiful cutscenes in most of their games that I've played personally. But why don't you guys tell me in the comments what your favorite starting weapon and gun is for Bloodborne? I know, for example, my significant other, when she plays, she always prefers the saw cleaver and the pistol, just because, you know, I guess she likes the pistol for some reason. I don't understand it. I prefer the shotgun, but that's probably because I suck really bad at pistol parry windows. I'm absolutely terrible at it. So I kind of use the shotgun because it gives me more of a window of opportunity, and even if I don't get the stagger so I can get the visceral, at least I got to shoot them with a shotgun, basically, is my kind of logic on it. Now, if I remember correctly, I die at least once to the random mob enemy because I wasn't paying attention at all to where they were or anything like that. And I'm pretty sure I forget I can actually buy new armor until quite late in my playthrough, so instead of just farming the Blood Echo, I needed to get a upgrade to my armor so I could survive more. I kind of forgot about it, which usually isn't too good unless you're really good or a speedrunner, to be honest. Maybe once I get better, I might consider speedrunning Bloodborne. I am on Twitch, so if you want to see, I know right now I'm doing a challenge run where I can only use the Threaded Cane and the Blunderbuss as my two weapons. I can't use Molotovs. I can buff my Threaded Cane, obviously, but I can't use any Molotovs, and I can't use any other sort of offensive weapon type other than Bolt Paper and Fire Paper to buff my weapons, just to give them more damage. And as you could see right there, I totally missed that gun parry, and I just had to hit him because, yeah. But my whole thing, one problem I have with Bloodborne is just why From Software didn't let you change the controllers from circle jumping, which is absolutely annoying. It's probably my biggest complaint about Bloodborne is the fact circle jumping, and if you're running and you have to dodge quick and you get a stored jump, it's just terrible because you can die so quickly. And that really bothers me. I don't know why FromSoft didn't make it so you could have, you know, just be able to avoid the hit by being able to change your controller. Like, that's one thing I really want in Bloodborne, is the ability to change my controller to L3 jumping, just so I didn't have to worry about getting a stored jump or whatever. And honestly, I know a lot of people complain it doesn't feel as connected as like Dark Souls 1, which you're right, it's not, but honestly, it makes sense in the lore of the game because you're stuck since you got this transfusion and became a hunter and you have to seek pale blood to transcend the hunt. You're kind of stuck in a dream forever, which the guy in the very beginning definitely foreshadows and alludes to when he says, whatever you may see, you can think of it as a bad dream. So the whole time you kind of know that, this is just a dream sort of state in a way. I don't know, if the hunter's dream's the only dream or if the whole Yarnum surrounded with all these beasts and everything is a dream. I mean, I guess in a way you could argue that everything your character sees is sort of a dream brought on by getting Yarnum blood injected to them, but again, you never know. FromSoft doesn't really like telling their stories in sort of the way, for example, Assassin's Creed does, where they're like, here's some cutscenes that are gonna give you the story in a way. Well, FromSoft tries to have it so their player base can understand more by playing more, which I think is kind of cool how they added insight in, which sort of alludes to the fact that that's what they want you to do, is play their games more and understand the lore to gain insight into the whole events that are happening. Like, when did old Yarnum burn? We know it can't be that long ago because the place is still on fire when we go to it, but it also can't have happened recently because the powder keggers were the ones who went in and swept through it, and you don't meet anyone who's a powder kegger in game, so either they all got wiped out or who knows. And I mean, I think we can all agree the Healing Church is probably the main villain in this game, regardless of what you want to say about, for example, the Moon Presence, which, yeah, you could say they're the villain, but I kind of doubt it. And as you can tell, I definitely forgot armor was a thing because I didn't even buy it. I just bought a lot of blood vials. I think now I remember that I can buy a new armor. I might not, in which case I should have definitely been paying more attention to that, because armor can make or break your character, especially early game. Not so much late game, but in early game, armor is definitely one of the most important things. And even though I buy this set, I think I end up going to the one side of the sewers and getting the hunter's attire anyways, which, come to think of it, really doesn't make sense. I don't know why I didn't just go with that originally, but hey, it happens sometimes, I guess. And here's another question, if you want to answer in the comments. What's your preferred starting class? Do you prefer the military veteran or the more balanced option, or do you want to be the waste of skin, I believe it's called in this game, the soul blood level 4 option? If you like being the blood level 4 option, my hat's off to you. You a lot braver than I probably would be. I mean, I guess maybe when I get more experience, but you never know. But anyways, I'm on twitch.tv if you want to look me up. My username is Dopey Canadian, and I'm going to be definitely streaming more Bloodborne. If people want it, I'll definitely stream Dark Souls Remastered as well, and Dark Souls 3, and if you guys want to make them challenge runs, I have no issues with that, just let me know. And I also have Assassin's Creed Odyssey as well, and I'm getting Red Dead Redemption 2. So if you want to see either of those two games streamed, again, just let me know in the YouTube comments, or join me on one of my streams while I'm on Twitch, and just let me know in the comments there, like, hey, we want to see you play this game. And I'm also going to be getting the Spyro Reignited trilogy, because, well, my significant other loves Spyro, and I kind of had to convince her by saying, like, hey, you can have Spyro if I can have, Red Dead Redemption 2, because she didn't want Red Dead Redemption 2 because she was pissed about Red Dead Redemption's 1 ending. She absolutely hated that, so she really didn't want me to buy Red Dead Redemption 2 because she was worried if she got attached to another main character, same thing would happen. Now, as you can see, I use oil and Molotovs. For those who don't play or just really don't use oil urns, they just boost your damage with fire weapons quite a bit, and that's an awesome glitch. Apparently, my guy's like a ventriloquist dummy or a puppet, marionette puppet to the cleric beast, because, yeah, I don't know how that grab worked. That hitbox was definitely a little bit off. And I know at this point I have a little bit of difficulty, because usually by now I would have just walked into the boss room and bold hunter marked out, but I forgot to grab the bold hunter marks from Eileen, so I'm trying to fight him and not lose my echo, because I would want to level up. And as you can tell, I'm not locked on. That's why I'm barely hitting this guy. I only lock on to throw some fire and Molotovs at him, which do really decent damage, and apparently staggered him that time, which is really nice. I know at one point this fight gets really annoying. Not for the way you'd expect. I was doing actually really well. I just kept trying to damage his limbs so I could get that visceral off, and every time I would damage his limbs, suddenly he would get stuck in the endless healing loop. And it was really annoying because I wasn't doing that much damage, and I was having difficulty just getting a little bit of breakage. So every time he healed, it pissed me off, because I'm like, well, shit. It took me how many hits just to get it once, and, it wasn't a nice feeling. And that I got really lucky with the fire Molotov there, hitting him as he hit me. I got really, really lucky there. Now I think I go back and I level up. If I don't level up, then I don't know what the hell I was thinking at that point, because I definitely knew my damage was going to be bad against the Father Gascoigne, or whatever, however you pronounce his name. I don't know. Now that's the blank, which if you've never played, they're used to just, summon help from other worlds and end it. And apparently I got a gesture, and I get another one here when I try to level up, which was really annoying. Now, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure I put it into... Oh yeah, I hit her with fire Molotov, so I kill her because, well, yeah, I already hit her. There's no point in... If I remember right, I put 1 point in skill, 1 in strength, 1 in endurance, and 1 in vitality, just to sort of have a more balanced sort of stat spread, instead of doing what I normally do and dumping a lot into vitality, because I love having vitality, a lot of health in any game. I really enjoy it because I'm a really aggressive sort of playstyle. So the more health I can have, usually the better. I know a lot of people who watch me play ask me why I play so aggressive in, say, Dark Souls Remastered, because there's no healing mechanic, which really sucks. There's no healing in the game. There's none of the rally, I believe the mechanic's called, that's in Bloodborne, which I really would have enjoyed in any of the Dark Souls, to be honest, just because of my aggressive playstyle. I tend to trade damage a lot. So the rally mechanic was really nice in Bloodborne, and I would have loved to see it in different games, but at the same time, I understand why From Software didn't add it to, let's say, the remastered Dark Souls 1, which, again, makes sense just with how a remaster works. It's basically them just making certain changes to make it a higher quality for the next gen of consoles. And I understand why they didn't add it in Dark Souls 3, just because, I mean, the series never had that mechanic before, so why would they just add a new mechanic in that, in all honesty, doesn't make much sense in the more slow-paced combat of Dark Souls, because in Bloodborne you're usually dodging really fast, using guns for parries, or, just rolling out of the way quite quickly, and you wear more light armors instead of the heavier sort of armor you'll wear in Dark Souls, and you don't have a shield to turtle behind, so, I mean, the playstyle sort of tells you, like, hey, don't use the shield you can pick up because you're probably going to die if you do. Which, again, I mean, I would enjoy a lot of games to have the sort of rally mechanic involved. I don't like the whole regenning health thing from Call of Duty, well, most first-person shooters, to be honest. Other than, I think, Wolfenstein, you actually have to eat food to regain health, which I think's a really nice touch, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's a video game, so I'll suspend my disbelief. I just want to know why you'd eat dog food, which you don't know where that dog food's made from, because, yeah, the Wolfenstein games definitely show a more sort of disturbing side to fascism, as opposed to the more sort of just Call of Duty show them as nameless, faceless grunts type thing. Now, if anyone watching's never been down here, it's not that hard of an area, but it's kind of an annoying area, is how I think of it. It's not like, oh, it's hard because, all the enemies are extremely high level. It's not that. Honestly, if you're really good with parries and stuff like that, I think you could probably make it through here without losing any health, most likely. I could be wrong, but I think if you're really good at parrying, you could probably sort of make this area and a lot of the beginning areas quite easy. I'm not that good with gun parries, that's why I have to use the shotgun, just so I hope to get a little bit of a stagger, even if I don't get a parry, just so then I have time to swing my saw cleaver at the beasts. For anyone who doesn't know, each weapon in Bloodborne, well, a lot of weapons, not all of them, have a hidden damage modifier. For example, the Threaded Cane has both a righteous and a serrated hidden modifier on the damage they'll deal. So for the Threaded Cane, if you have it in Cane mode, it does righteous, so it'll deal extra damage to enemies, NPCs, stuff like that, who are weak to righteous damage. While in its transform mode, it will do serrated damage, which the saw cleaver, saw spear will do as well. Serrated damage just boosts your damage against beasts, which is why in the description for the saw cleaver it mentions, like, it only grows with an effectiveness the more hideously transformed or whatever the beast is. It's just because it has a multiplier, so it deals more damage to beast-like enemies like these guys, the normal enemies you'll see walking around quite a bit, and unfortunately there's no extra damage to character. I don't think, uh, I'm not sure about what all considers beast. I assume it's all werewolf or lycanthrope type enemies, so I don't think it works against enemies that like the celestial emissaries or anything like that, even though they're very much, uh, in my mind, they're sort of bestial with their arcane. The ones that just punch you are kind of weak and redundant and ridiculous, which I don't understand why the celestial emissary is a thing until it hits third phase, where it actually gains access to the arcane, which is pretty dangerous if you don't have high arcane resistant clothing, I guess, is what the armor sets in this game are. They're just normal sort of trench coat Victorian era clothing. I have no idea. They're just sort of look like normal clothing you could go into a store and sort of buy and sort of make yourself with a little bit of light metals like aluminum or tin, and just sort of bend it over your arms for some bracers or something. I know one armor set's brass, but anyways, the clothing, armor, whatever you want to call it in Bloodborne, it just, you know, if you don't have anything that gives a high resistance to arcane damage, it sucks. I went in here thinking there's a bloodstone shard, I believe, and then I remembered after I went to the back that it's the other one, which I make this mistake quite a few times. I always forget certain locations of bloodstone shards, twin bloodstone shards, all that. This will also be my first video, so sorry if it's a little rough to watch and listen to. I apologize for that, and also I'm using a gaming headset mic attachment, so if the audio quality is bad, even after I edit it, I apologize. And to anyone who's wondering, I'm using Filmora Wondershare, I think it's called. It's a free one right now until I get really good at using it, and then I'll buy the paid one. So if there's any like sort of little banner at the bottom, that's because I'm using the free version, and they just basically, when you're using the free version, they're like, hey, since you're doing it for free, you post any videos, it's advertising for us. So, you know, I understand where they're coming from. If you've noticed that, like, hey, the timer, the elapsed time and the stream that I'm editing is, you know, further ahead than the video by a couple of seconds, that's just, I can't help that. It's just the way it happened, because I started my stream after I went through most of the, I started my stream, I don't know when exactly, but it just worked out that way, so I apologize for that as well. And if anyone was expecting any like deep sort of lore stuff, that's not really my cup of tea. I'm not really good at the deep lore stuff for this game in particular. I know I've read the book that Fishing Hamlet is very clearly takes a lot of inspiration from the Shadow over Innsmouth. I've read that book, so I can give a more sort of, you know, comparisons to that in the Fishing Hamlet when I get there on my stream, when the video of that gets to YouTube. But until then, I really can't say much because I don't know a lot about Cthulhu mythos. I know a little bit about like lycanthropy, why it's called that and stuff, but I doubt anyone wants to hear about that sort of story, and because it's quite disturbing story. Then again, a lot of ancient Greek mythos is pretty disturbing, or just filled with, you know, Zeus banging some woman or murdering somebody for something. The Greeks were wonderful people, but back then they had a lot of opinions that are kind of bad when you actually look at them. deeply. Like, I'm pretty sure every demigod except Perseus had a terrible, terrible life. I don't even think, like, you can say, oh, Hercules being made a god was a good thing, because, you know, what Hera did to him is kind of bad. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. But, sorry, that's really off topic. Now, I think here I'm just gonna, I was like, yeah, I think I got a chance against Father Gascoigne, or however you pronounce his name. I will probably butcher it every time because I don't know how to pronounce that name. Now, if you watch what I did there, I just moved so the enemies would chase me, and then the fireball of doom will come down. I know you can dodge it if you stick to one side or something, but I'm not good at it, so I just run and, you know, hope all of them get hit, and if not, I'll just run by the last one standing. I believe here, I either go right for Gascoigne or I go to the pig after I kill this guy for sure. I don't know about the little shield dude, because, I mean, shields in this game, they're annoying enemies to fight. I don't like turtling enemies in any game. Oh, he unturtled for me. That's actually really nice of him. Yeah, here I go fight the pig. I don't know what I thought the pig had, but he didn't have it. Oh, I was looking for another bloodstone shard, I believe, and I thought the pig had one, and he didn't. I think he dropped me vials or whatever. Yeah, that animation, top notch. You know, it's like stuffing turkey with your fist and just tearing out the side of it. You know, 10 out of 10. Makes it really awkward if anyone who's never seen the game walks in and you're like yelling, yeah, fist that pig. Or, you know, they see your character fisting a pig up the ass. It's kind of awkward if, like, your mom or dad or something walked in when that animation was happening. Then you'd have to explain to them, you know, why you're playing a game where your character can fist the pig's asshole. And I don't think anyone wants to explain to their parents why that can happen in a video game. Unless you got really cool parents, I guess, who are just like, oh, it's okay, whatever. Which plays good on you. For anyone who didn't know, down there after the pig, you can pick up the Saw Hunter's badge, which will let you buy the cane, the Hunter's axe, the Saw Cleaver, the Hunter's pistol, and also the Hunter's blunderbuss. In case you picked, let's say, the blunderbuss and you didn't like it, you could buy the pistol. Or if you picked the Hunter's axe, if you're like, no, I don't like this swing speed or whatever, then you could just buy another weapon that you would want instead. I don't suggest doing it because, I mean, honestly, all the starting weapons are good. You really just want to wait until, like, later game. You can get the Chikage if you're doing a blood tinge, which is controls your gun damage. Also, the Chikage's damage as well. If you want a good strength weapon, I know a lot of people swear by the Kirk hammer, and hammer form's apparently pretty good at it. I know a lot of people like the Lognarius wheel. I'm sorry if I butchered that, but it's a pretty interesting weapon. I'll agree with that, but again, I'm not really a strength weapon user, so I wouldn't be the best judge on, oh, is this weapon any good for a strength character? I have no idea, man. Your guess is as good as mine. Me personally, I usually just stick with the Saw Cleaver just because I enjoy the Saw Cleaver moveset, and I know later game when you fight like the kin, it doesn't do as much damage as other weapons that have bonus damage against kin enemies, which for people who don't know, the kin are like related to the old ones. So like the celestial emissaries are related to old ones, and they're called kin because I guess it's sort of a play on the word like family, because you can call family members your kin. I got the Bloodstone Shard, which I really wanted to upgrade my weapon to +2. +2? Yeah, I think it was +2 I was upgrading to. I grabbed the Saw Spear and stuff like that, even if I'm not going to use it myself. I just grab it to sell for, blood echoes because, well, I mean, it's always nice to have more leveling or be able to buy more bullets if you use a lot of bullets. Like, I know a lot of arcane builds that use, like, the tiny, whatever it's called. I will butcher that name, so I'm not going to try. It's the tiny little mace you stick in the ground and shoots a straight beam of lightning that erupts from the ground. The Executioner's gloves as well. Stuff like that. That's if you have DLC installed. The Black Sky Eye, I think it is. Call Beyond, Augur of Abritas, stuff like that. That you use your Quicksilver bullets to use arcane. So if you're using a lot of arcane, it'd be nice to always have a reliable lot of Quicksilver bullets back in the Hunter's Dream. That way, even if you die, you can just go back and grab it. If you're using the cannon, you definitely probably want a decent amount of Quicksilver bullets because that thing goes through bullets like they're going out of style. I think with one of the runes on, which gives you more bullets, I think it only stretches it to 2 shots unless you're really lucky and you get like all 3 of the formless Odin runes. I think are the ones that boost the Quicksilver bullet capacity you can carry. I think maybe if you had like all of them, you might get more than 2 shots with the cannon if you use your blood bullets, which is when you stab yourself just to give yourself 5 extra rounds, which I've been in the situation where those 5 extra bullets have made massive differences, and I've been in the situation where I accidentally tap up and died because I tapped up and didn't have a chance to heal. So, bosses kill you quite quick. I think I was fighting Martyr Logarius or whatever his face is, and I died to his arcane spirit bomb thing. I don't know what you want to call the attack. I call it a spirit bomb because I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, well, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, so I just call it the spirit bomb. So if you know the actual name, feel free to let me know what the actual name is, and feel free to let me know in the comments if I'm butchering any of these names. Feel free. I understand I'm not the best English speaker. I don't know all the intricacies of all the languages. I know enough to basically order burgers and french fries and all that. The basic stuff I'm ever going to need. I don't think I'm ever going to need to know how to pronounce the martyr's last name. I doubt that's going to be ever a question on a job interview or anything, and if it is, I should probably learn how to do it, but I doubt it will be. Now here I pop some of my Blood Echo, but I think I leave one other one just so I don't spend all of them on leveling. Just so I can get more, bullets and blood vials, just because, healing's great in this game, especially since they removed the mechanic where you can just, rest at a bonfire and collect some more healing, which I know a lot of people don't like because they're like, well, that just makes it a lot harder, because what if I'm having a boss I'm extreme difficulties with and now I have to farm a bunch of small time enemies that is just tedious and boring because I don't have enough. Well, I agree. I think the farming's quite annoying, especially if you think like, oh yeah, I got it this time, and the boss does like an attack you don't see coming. For example, like Vicar, Amelia. Sometimes she'll do an attack I never see coming. I don't know why. I guess I don't know her tells that well, but she'll do that jump back slash attack, and I always get confused and think she's doing the normal slash forward attack, so I roll into her trying to avoid it, and I end up rolling right into her claws and getting wrecked, which is really aggravating because it's like, oh crap, I knew I could have dodged that. I knew. But I messed up, so, you know, even though there's a lot of things in this game that are kind of aggravating, I never find myself aggravated at the game. I'm always more frustrated at myself because I knew I'm the one who made the mistake and read the tell wrong, which is why I think I really enjoy Dark Souls games, is because of that. I really don't enjoy Dark Souls 2 though, but that's not because I feel like it's difficult or anything. I mean, don't get me wrong, it feels floaty and sort of cheap, some of the deaths, especially with how much they added ganks into the game, which are annoying in any game, I don't care what. If, you know, there's like 3 hard enemies standing right beside each other, you know you're gonna die. And they sort of were like, yeah, no, we're going to have these 3 stand right here, right in front of the boss room. I don't enjoy Dark Souls 2 because of the ganky, and I don't like how weightless, in a way, the combat and stuff feels. It's not a shot at Dark Souls 2 by any means. I know it has fans. Me personally, I don't like it that much. If you want to tell me why I'm wrong in the comments, go ahead. I'm not, you know, making videos and all that just to be like, yeah, this is 100% right. You gotta listen to me. I know everything. No, I'm doing this just for fun and, you know, to connect with people who are like-minded, enjoy these games, and just want to share their sort of opinions with me and, you know, help me get better, understand more at these games than I am right now. And, you know, if you enjoy just watching someone play a bunch of different games and who's willing to do a lot of, like, crazy out there challenges, I mean, I'll try most challenges, but if you're like, we want to see you go through Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, with your bare hands, using no gun or anything else, completely naked at Blood level 4, or Soul level 1, I'm probably going to say no, because that's way beyond my skill level, and there's no hope that that would be anywhere near as entertaining to everyone else, because I'd be spend most of the time getting angry because I'd be dying a lot. Like, there's no doubt in my mind I'd be dying like at least 10 times a freaking like second, almost. Like, it would be ridiculous. But if you're like, hey, we want to see you do like Soul level 1, Blood level 4, or, you know, like, hey, we want to see you try to speedrun Dark Souls 3, the Dark Souls remaster, or the Bloodborne, I'll be okay with that, because that'll be fun. Oh yeah, now he gets me caught in this freaking... I hate when he does that and you're knocked down and he just gets you stuck in an endless cycle. And I keep getting parries, but every time I get the parry, he hits me anyways. And I'm pretty sure that ends up costing me... Oh no, I beat him. Huh. I swore I died a lot more in that fight. And before anyone in the comments says, hey, you know you can make that fight easier with the music box. Yeah, I know, but I really didn't want to start the little girl's quest line because I always found it a little depressing about what ends up happening to her if you give her her mom's brooch and everything, so I just don't do it anymore. I almost run right by the chest, which gives you the blood gem tool, which you need for blood gems in your weapons, which is pretty bad if you forget it, because that really helps late game, especially like for my threaded cane run. That's going to be really helpful, because I don't know how much damage I'm going to do with the threaded cane at all, but you know, I know it won't be as much as my saw cleaver, and it will be nowhere near as much as the hunter's axe. So having blood gems, the tool, and being able to slot blood gems into a weapon is a really big help. I would prefer it though if, you know, you could make sort of like boss souls weapons in this game, but at the same time I get why you can't, because there's no souls or anything like that. But I would enjoy that sort of mechanic somehow being like introduced. If FromSoft could figure a way to plug that in, I would be really okay with that. And this run will also have the DLC bosses, which I've never fought. Orphan of Kos. Lady Maria's kicked my butt royally repeatedly. I think the first time I ever fought her was like 20 times. But this is going to be almost all. I think I'm just going to do a little bit of leveling, and then I'm going to take a seat, and that'll be the whole video. I don't know when I'll, you know, have a new video or anything like that, but thanks for watching. Have a good day. Goodbye.